Welcome back. This is Billy with Coach Dooley's List, and this is our Beyond the List interview series. This episode today is brought to you by online donations. So, coaches, if you still need any fundraising for your program, please give us a call. The information will be down at the bottom, so you can reach out that way. Today, I'm with Coach Thom here at Lassiter Football, and just as always in the summertime, it is craziness over here. So, Coach, I do appreciate you taking the time. Coach, we always start with just kind of asking about your coaching journey. You know, where all you've been and what led you here to Lassiter.
Yeah, I've been all over. So I started out as a graduate assistant at Faulkner University, which is after I got done playing. Actually recruited over this area, Cobb County, back in like the Hudson Mason days. And coming up during that time, made a stop up in Dalton at Southeast Whitfield. Andy Scott gave me my first coordinator job at Kennesaw Mountain back in 2012. I got my first head coaching job in South Carolina at McCormick. Went with Zach Grage to Gilmer for a year before he headed down to Thomasville. Was at North Forsyth with Robert Kraft, and then got the head football job at Mayville State University in North Dakota. And then that's what led me here. My wife is a product of McEachern. And so when I was up there and this job came open, talked to Don Baker, who's the Cobb County AD, and got some info about that, interviewed, and been here going on year 7 now.
Awesome.
So longest I've been at a place.
Well, when you find a home, and, you know, sometimes it is about just trying to find the home and find a place you're comfortable with. So that's awesome. Now, you know, being here 7 years now, you know, when somebody walks on the field with Lassiter football and they look across the field, what do you want people to know about your program, or what do you want them to leave knowing about your program?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, to the point we're at now, we want people to just leave saying, you know what, those kids, they work extremely hard. We hope that our work ethic is shown throughout the course of a practice, a game, a lifting session, and then that they just compete. I think you hear that so much, and that compete definition can be so many different things. But, you know, no matter what the outcome is, I want people to leave saying, you know what, those guys are a tough group of kids, that they respond to adversity no matter what it is, and they're able to overcome it to the best of their ability.
I love that. And, you know, I go to a lot of places, and, you know, football is always such a, you know, there's so many kids involved. And I will say this, the 2 times I've been over here, your kids are always very respectful. They're always sweating, so you can see that. And coming in here, they're very respectful. You don't hear some of the things coming out of people's mouth, which I definitely appreciate, because I got my 2 youngins outside, so I do appreciate that. And I almost forgot, too. I got here today, and this one is sweet, Coach. So, again, I said, you know, in the spirit of John Gruden, I always see his videos. Some coaches, I've gotten to go places and gotten some cool gear. I'm not coaching anymore, so my closet is starting to get empty. So I will wear this one with some pride. I love this one. I appreciate it. You know, we were talking a little bit before, a little bit about a coaching story. You didn't tell me much. We're going to check on it. But what is your favorite coaching story? And I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. So mine, you talk about just being thrown in different situations where I guess you've never experienced something. So it's a trial by fire. My second year at Mayville, we're going to we're going to Montana Northern, which was about an 18-hour bus trip. We make it there, we play the game, we get done, and we're probably 3.5 hours making our trip back, and one of our buses broke down. So we called the company. It took a couple hours, and finally they said, look, we got to send another one from Fargo, which was about a 13, 14-hour trip. And so, long story short, we loaded the bus with maybe some problematic kids, some kids that had no business staying overnight somewhere. And we were left with about 15 to 20 trustworthy kids, all older, obviously at college level. We walked about a half a mile down. I mean, if you think, you know, the whole woo-woo, you know, wah-wah, just rural town, nothing around there. We come to Malta, which was a town of about 150. We get a hotel that was honestly from like The Shining, something crazy like that. All us coaches, there was about 5 of us. We went to bed, and then the next morning we wake up for breakfast, and we're watching the local news. Our players are coming down, and all of a sudden our kids are being interviewed because they snuck out that night and crashed a wedding, and everyone
in a town of 150.
Town of 150. So people are coming in. They're, you know, I still remember, hey, Corey, I remember you, and they said our kids were very respectful, but it was a good laugh to think that these kids, could break up a wedding, do it in the right way. They were invited. I mean, it's almost like they were invited to the wedding. So, they slept the entire way home, take it for what it is, and got back, and we were ready to roll from that point forward.
That sounds like a big great for a little Netflix series.
Yeah.
Little,
Bad.
The wedding crashers and stuff. So no, I love that. So being head coach for several years now, if one of your assistant coaches came to you, or even one of your players said, "Coach Thom, I'd like to be a head coach one day," what piece of advice would you give to them?
Man, I think there's so much, but I think the biggest thing is, and we can get a little cliche, but don't be afraid to clean a toilet. I think that is forgotten on so many guys. I was lucky to come up, obviously being a graduate assistant, where you're the gopher, and I can remember picking up kids from daycare to dry cleaning. You got plenty of football, but you had to do all the stuff that the big time guys didn't want to do. I think it taught me how to have a great work ethic, how to sweep the sheds per se. Like, don't be afraid to pick a broom up. I think these kids, your coaches, are always watching to what you do. And I'll do that with our guys sometimes. I'll sit in a staff meeting and purposely, before we start, I'll just start cleaning. And I think it's amazing because it doesn't take too long before that assistant and that one start picking up a broom, and you don't have to tell them, but I think along with that, I'd just say always be looking around the corner for the next issue. You got to have your antennas up. You got to know that, not that someone's always out to get you, but people are always watching, so it's your program. You're the CEO. What stamp do you want to put on it? So that when people come in, they say, hopefully they want to be a part of it.
No, I love that. You always hear, do as I say, not as I do. But if you provide that example, people are going to follow it, whether that's good or bad. So, yeah, absolutely doing all those little things. So, the big idea behind Coach Dooley's list is trying to connect vendors with coaches and, those that you trust. So, being here 7 years now, I know you probably have, your guys and your companies that you work with. So who are some companies you'd like to shout out that you would refer to a coaching buddy of yours?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, which around here most people probably use, but we are pretty extensive with BSN.
Mm-hmm.
We have been for, I guess, 7 years. I think Shuma Sports has done really good things. I've talked to a lot of those guys over there, and typically whenever BSN has maybe a back order issue or something, you can reach out to Shuma or Pro Sports. We've done some business with that. Will Adkins and those guys have done a great job. So there's plenty out there. I think the biggest thing is just reaching out and being honest about what your needs are and see what they can provide you and create that open dialogue. And most of these guys will be willing to help you out and take care of your kids, which I think is the most important thing.
Oh, yeah. And this biggest thing is getting it on time and get what you ordered, but also being honest and saying, hey, if I can't get it here, let me know so I can go to somebody who can. So,
Yep.
Well, Coach, listen, that's great. I know y'all are busy up here, and I appreciate you taking the time. So good luck this season.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.